Morning, Walter.
Good morning.
And how are we?
Fine, thank you.
Good, good. So we're doing some filming for your YouTube channel. Could you tell me a bit about why you're doing the YouTube channel in the first place?
The idea of the YouTube channel is to get information across to patients and students and in the general public about osteopathy and what I do, particularly as an osteopath.
Okay, and so could you tell me a bit about your background, your training? How did you get into osteopathy in the first place?
Well, actually, it was in my family. My uncle was a famous osteopath. I never actually met him. He died when I was about 3 years old, but I had access to all his old papers, and that was quite enlightening, the things that he was doing in those days. I went to the British School of Osteopathy and I graduated from there in 1984, if I remember correctly, and then from there onwards got involved in sport and healthcare in general. So.
Okay, so how did you get involved in sports, and also why, I guess, as well?
Well, actually, it was about the 1980s, late 1980s, well, actually the early 1980s, was a big enthusiasm about American football. So I got involved with a team in South London, and then this is back in about 1983. I got so involved that when I actually qualified, I ended up looking after them from a healthcare point of view. Then got involved with the league, and then from there onwards, just developed it from there, and that was about 20 years. I ended up in professional sport with a team called the London Monarchs, looking at dealing with all the injuries and looking after the players around the world. So.
Okay, and here you even spent some time in the States as well. Yeah,
part of that was learning from the professionals in the States, teams like the Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers, in particular the Los Angeles Rams, back about 1987, 88. Some work over there.
Okay, and you're also a published author.
Yes, a few books. The first book was in 1999 on sports medicine, which came out of the American football experience because I wanted to learn more about trauma training, and there was nothing involved with osteopathy that I could find that was applicable to what I needed at the time. So I wrote a book of all my experiences and how to run a team, how to look after injuries, how to do the assessment. And then there's another book in 2000 about osteopathy as a whole, from its philosophy to its principles and to its practice, and then contributions to other books, mainly in Germany. So.
Okay, and is there any particular reason why Germany, or is that a particular field?
They sort of picked me up. Now I lecture all over Germany. I'm there about nearly 10 times a year, and then they transferred me to other countries. So I lecture in Greece, I lecture in Poland, and Holland.
And so who are the lectures for, and what are the lectures about?
Lectures were for a combination of postgraduate lectures on specialties like paediatrics or sports medicine or philosophy, and then undergraduate lectures. The Osteopathy Schule Deutschland, based in Hamburg, get me to come in on the first weekend of a 5-year program for students and lecture on a broad base of osteopathy, particularly its philosophy.
Okay. And so why the philosophy? I understand that you've got a big interest in the philosophy of osteopathy. Could you tell me a bit more about that?
The founder of osteopathy, was a doctor from the 19th century in America, said osteopathy is a philosophy, not a treatment. Well, this was also very confusing because we think of philosophy of looking at language and stuff. But actually, in those days, philosophy was a practical application, a way of thinking and reasoning and questioning, which we don't do so often today. It changed at the beginning of the 20th century. So to have a philosophy rather than an actual treatment in that aspect means you're always constantly asking yourself questions and re-evaluating yourself.
Okay, and you're still a practicing osteopath, and I understand you work at or treat children as well.
Yeah, every Monday, British School of Osteopathy in Borough High Street in South London. I treat lots of children with students in the morning, 3 students in the morning, 3 students in the afternoon. So it's like a living workshop, constantly asking questions and helping out between groups.
And is there anything in particular about the children's clinic that draws you to that in terms of osteopathy?
I find it challenging. Sports became not easy, but became not so much hard work anymore. But with the children, I think I've been doing it for about 9, 10 years now. It's actually challenging all the time. And if you can treat children, you can treat anybody.
And so your lectures, you go around, you're often away. Whenever I'm speaking to you, you seem to be away. You've recently been in Holland. Is there anything else that you could tell us about those?
Well, the lectures itself are based
Yeah.
on philosophy mainly, and the osteopathic philosophy is about how to see. It's about intuitiveness. Intuitiveness is seen generally as something a bit sort of loose and airy, but in fact it's quite a hard discipline. We're taught to see in a certain way through our language and through our educational system that makes everything we attend to objective, and objectivity is usually related to dead objects. Here we're dealing with the living. So what we have to do is take a different way of thinking, and this way of thinking is developing a meaning rather than just purely looking at objects in a mechanical way. Because most of osteopathy today is mechanical, and that's the problem. The founder of osteopathy said, don't do that. You need to look at things in an intuitive way when you're actually treating patients. So we've been looking at the work, the history of intuition, right back from the Greeks, looking through people like Goethe, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, the German scientist who was known as a poet. And this is a foundation of a lot of the American culture, that mixed in with a bit of Immanuel Kant, which is a very, very practical philosophy. It doesn't divorce the elements of medicine. It's still there. You still examine the patient in the same way, just looking at the elements of medicine in a different direction, basically.
So if I came to you with, I don't know, a sprained ankle or a very tight shoulder, how would your treatment, the use of philosophy, help you in treatment?
Well,
or help me as a patient?
Yeah, the type of philosophy that was used then was more of a dynamic philosophy rather than we have today as a static collection of facts. But then what we tend to do medically is evaluate the patient. The first 5 to 10 minutes you wouldn't see the difference between me and a GP. So if you had a sore throat or a headache or a shoulder problem, I would go through the normal clinical evaluation, which we see as objective related, objective subjective related, and then it moves into a new phase where the elements which are mechanical are still there, because the intuitive reason brings what a friend of mine has called, brings the two-dimensional world into a three-dimensional world. And this style of thinking makes you see more deeply, so you can see the problem directly and where the problem lies. And this is what the founder of osteopathy taught in the 19th century.
Oh, thank you. And to wrap up, I hear you've recently been elected as the first president of the European Association of Osteopathic Sports Healthcare. Are we going to see you in epaulets or anything
that was a
soon?
surprise, because they've set up they're trying to get a basic curriculum running across Europe for sports medicine. So they thought, because of my experience in sports, so apparently they wanted me to be the first president, which I happily accepted. Just my role is just to have an overview and direct. So, but of course across Europe there's different kinds of sports. So we set up a basic 3-tier curriculum, which again everyone will hear about it when it comes up. So.
Oh, that'll be exciting times. And so what next?
Next is a new book on manipulation, because it seems that manipulation osteopathy has become very, very mechanical based. And I wanted to try and get back to the original style of manipulation which Dr. Andrew Taylor Still, the founder of osteopathy, did. So we have all the information now from journals, from philosophy. I've got a lot of good helpers. So we're actually getting back to that intuitive manipulative approach, which doesn't divorce what's already being done, which puts it onto a new level, which hasn't been written about before. So that's the next big project. And that will be on YouTube as well.
Excellent. And if we want to find out any more information, where do we contact you,
Well,
Walter?
we've got Facebook, McKone Osteopath. We've got YouTube. If you type in Walter McKone Osteopath to begin with, other information come up. Twitter, which is Osteo McKone, I think. It'll be up at the bottom of the screen anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's it, basically, isn't it? YouTube.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And do you have any time outside of osteopathy to do anything?
No, yes.
Sounds like you're busy.
Yeah. Well, my girlfriend Katie's very demanding.
You might cut that bit out. Thank you, Walter.